Hi, and welcome to the CAFMA Connect. I'm your host, Fire Chief Freitag, and with me today is my overly excited co-host, Assistant Chief Cody Rose.
Very excited to be here.
I know, and
I keep telling people every time I come to it that you're going to be back next week, and finally you're back.
I'm back. Well, I mean, I've been back. We had to miss a couple of episodes, but I do want to point out there's something missing on the table, even though I'm getting it. When I do this, it freaks Kathy out because I'm getting my hands into your shop.
We can bang on the table now?
Bang on the table now?
No.
Because our table mics are gone. This is the first time we're using lapel mics in here. They are wired. We just have the wires hidden because we're professional like that. Mm-hmm. So, Cody, the reason I had you on today is because you have background as a former union vice president, involved in different political things throughout the years. And what I wanted to cover today was kind of Congressional Fire Service Institute, CFSI, right? I was just in Washington, D.C. for several days. We were walking the halls of the Capitol, the Senate building, the House of Representatives. And, you know, there's reasons that we get engaged at that level, right? It's very important and it has an impact on us here at the local level and the state level. Mm-hmm. So some of the things that we went up there to talk about, one of them, and this has been a big topic, especially for firefighters across the country, because cancer is so prevalent in the fire service. And as a matter of fact, firefighting has been classified as a class 1 carcinogen, right? But we're doing all the things to mitigate that, to protect our personnel. But one of the things we've learned over the years is that our gear has the forever chemicals in it, otherwise known as PFAS, PFAS. And so one of the things that we asked for is a $25 million grant to the U.S. Fire Administration to study PFAS in different types of gear. So this says, you know, elimination of all PFAS chemicals. It's not really possible.
Exactly, yeah. Might be possible, but to make that happen is we won't be around anymore when that comes to fruition, if it does.
The carpet in the studio has PFAS. The chairs we're sitting on have PFAS in it. The cooking utensils we have PFAS in it.
Plastic water bottles we drink out of every day.
Right. Yeah. Everything has PFAS in it. That doesn't change the fact that the gear that our firefighters wear has PFAS in it as part of that inner lining. The intent is to protect you, but as that gear heats up, you actually have more carcinogens that can soak into the body. Mm-hmm. So they're working on studies to look for different types of gear, but that's going to be a long process when you look at every firefighter in the country, 2 sets of gear. That's a lot of changeover.
Yeah.
Can you imagine in the warehouse, because that's one of your areas?
Oh yeah, we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars, and just a set right now is somewhere around $7,000 for one set. So $14,000 per person, and we have 120 operations personnel now, and continuing to add to that.
Right,
you're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars to make that change.
Right. So you know, we're going to continue the fight because it's the right thing to do. Mm-hmm. Looking for the $25 million grant to the USFA to see if we can find a better way to make gear, but it's the PFAS and even hunting gear that allows the water to shed off. Mm-hmm. But there's got to be another chemical that could be used besides PFAS.
Yeah.
So the next one that we talked to them about was the reauthorization of the AFG, the Assistance to Firefighters Grant, and the SAFER grants. I don't remember what SAFER stands for, but that's the one that we submit to try to get federal assistance to hire personnel. And it's a tiered type of system. So they pay 75% the first year, 75% the second year, 25% the third year, and then we take over in the fourth year. Mm-hmm. The Senate at the federal level has already passed this. They reauthorized it last year. The House has not, and they're hearing it on the floor this week. So we're hopeful that our representatives from here will pass that reauthorization for those 2 grants, because I don't know how many AFG grants we've received, but what's some of the type of equipment that we've been able to acquire through AFG grants?
I know that we've gotten some hazmat equipment through that. We've gotten some of our monitors early on when the Life Packs were upgrading to the Life Pack 12s, and now we have the Life Pack 15s. When some of those changes were being made, we got some of our monitors off that. Mm-hmm. So some of the more expensive medical equipment we've received off the AFG grants. I know we've put in for some other stuff that we haven't been awarded.
Right.
But that's definitely very beneficial to the organization and to taxpayers of being able to have federal funding to pay for some of that stuff so we can use those monies other places.
Right. And we have received SAFER grants in the past. The last couple of years, we have not been successful in getting a SAFER grant. That said, one of the things we asked our representatives was, hey, we said we appreciate the letters that you give us for support to go with our grant application. However, we need you to reach out to FEMA and have a conversation because it doesn't appear that the distribution of these funds has been as equitable across the country as it could be. The last couple of years, we've seen a lot more funds staying on the East Coast and Midwest, not as much in the Western United States. And if you look at the Wildfire Commission report that was done, one of the things that they looked at in there and one of the things they stated was, hey, the federal government and state governments are going to be more reliant on the local responders for wildfire suppression. And if you're going to be more reliant on us, which we already know, then we need more people. And in order to get more people, we do need some federal assistance to put them on and then gradually take over the payroll for that. One of the things I heard on the Capitol, and it baffled me a little bit, but it does follow a kind of an ideology that's pretty far one way or the other, right? Extreme, and that's that local emergency responders shouldn't get federal funds. And I was taken back by that because when you look at everything that happens in the United States, every disaster, who responds? We do.
Yep.
Right? Yep. Who are the personnel on the federal FEMA teams for emergency response to hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, wildfire? It's local firefighters and first responders. Mm-hmm. Yes, there are some doctors, nurses, there's other positions, but a lot of it is the local emergency responders from your local fire department. With that being said, truly, the local agencies are the federal government's emergency response agency. Mm-hmm. And to that end, there should be some monies that flow into the local emergency response agencies so that we can be prepared for these things.
Yeah.
I think I can't remember what they said, but of the top 10 fire sheds in the United States, I think 7 of them are here on Prescott National Forest. I think along with our partners at Prescott National Forest and the state, we are some of the first initial attack in those areas.
And if you talk about even the Type 1 incident management teams throughout the country, a lot of those are relying on local resources to build those teams.
Right.
So, yeah.
So federal funds do need to flow this way. Fortunately, they were able to move it to a different committee, get it out of that committee and onto the floor. So we're very hopeful that it will be reauthorized. Another one we talked about, and this one's a little more straightforward, but I'm surprised by it, and that's we asked them to support the Honor Act. So there's something called the Public Safety Officer Benefit, and typically if one of our members loses their life in the line of duty, the Public Safety Officer Benefit kicks in to support the family. It can also support the member and their family if they have to retire out. Well, we know that cancer is a leading cause of death in the fire service today. And we're doing the things that we need to do to try to mitigate that, but it's still a leading cause of death. If you retire because of cancer, then you receive the Public Safety Officer Benefit. But if you die as a result of the cancer, then the Public Safety Officer Benefit stops. And it seems that there is not a presumptive cancer at the federal level for death, only for retirement, which doesn't make a lot of sense. So small loophole, we'd like to see that changed.
Yeah.
So Lithium-Ion Batteries Act. Now this one, we're looking for increased safety standards related to lithium-ion batteries. You and I talked about this. Let's go back to the gear. How much is a set of gear again?
$7,000.
$7,000. In the city of Phoenix, they had a warehouse where they stored lithium-ion batteries because there's still not a good way to recycle these things. So they just put them in warehouse on pallets. And one of them had a thermal runaway, lit the pallet on fire. The sprinkler system went off, but sprinkler systems aren't designed for the BTUs put off by a lithium-ion battery. And the firefighters made entry, the batteries started to explode, they dove for cover, got out. Ultimately, at the end of the day, they used a drone. They had to hook to the pallet, pull it out once they could see, with the drone what was going on. The Phoenix Fire Department disposed of 30 sets of gear. And the reason is there's not a way really to decontaminate because of the all of the chemicals in a lithium-ion battery. So the heavy metals that soak into the gear, there was nothing they could do to decontaminate those. $7,000 times 30.
Significant amount.
That's a big expense. That's a concern for us. Today, there is one place in the country, and we've talked about it before we started filming. We don't remember exactly where that is, but we know it's what, 300 to 500?
To get them done. I think it's more than that. I think just shipping them there and getting the shipping back and all that, I think it's even more than that. I think it's over $1,000 by the time everything's done per set. Per
set of gear. So if we respond, for example, to an electric vehicle fire, we know that has to be a first alarm assignment. Your typical car fire, normal car fire, is typically a single engine response, unless there's exposure, single engine. Yeah. For an electric vehicle fire in that same location away from exposures is a full first alarm because of what it requires. So let's say we have 3 people per engine, we have 4 engines that go, that's 12 firefighters plus a BC, so 13. All of that gear has to be shipped at over $1,000 per set to the one place in the country where they can decontaminate it. And during that time, our firefighters only have a single set of gear. There's no backup.
And the other concern there is, or the other issue that we've run into is, when is it considered an exposure and who is exposed? So whose sets of turnouts are we going to send off?
Right.
Is it just the people the firefighters that were directly involved with that, or is it people that are in outlying areas because of the off-gassing from those fires? That's a difficult decision to have to make.
Right. Well, and now we look at the solar panels they're installing today, and the solar is connected to lithium-ion battery storage systems. And we're trying to keep those out of homes, because if a lithium-ion battery storage system goes up in a house because of a thermal runaway, the house is done. There's nothing we can do. Another thing that was pointed out while we were there, because Underwriter Laboratories has done a lot of testing on lithium-ion batteries. A lithium-ion battery wall in your garage, if there's a thermal runaway, will blow the garage door approximately 150 feet away from the house, right? We typically say in a house fire, you have about 3 minutes to get out. With a lithium-ion battery-caused house fire, say an electric bike, it's a minute or less, and it's 16 seconds from the first off gas until your smoke detector will sound. This is a problem.
Yeah.
And so we need more stringent standards on those. And just as a side note, CAFMA, and we're not the only organization looking at this, we're going to the board this month to ask them about creating a fee schedule for when we respond to a fire caused by lithium-ion batteries, where we will bill basically the spiller, like a hazmat incident, so the owner, for the additional expenses related to fighting that fire, because it's significant.
Yeah, it definitely is, and the time on scene, the commitment time for our resources is significant too, as well, from what it was if it was just a regular residential structure fire or residential fire.
Right. So. One of the recommendations for electric vehicle fire, and I'm not sure how we do this, is that we get a rollback with flatbed tow truck rollback with a dumpster and a front end loader and a pile of dirt, and we unload the dumpster, and then we use the front end loader to dump the vehicle into the dumpster, and then we dump dirt on top of it. We don't have that.
Yeah, no.
And I don't know where we'd get it.
Yeah.
So our elected officials really were taken by surprise the last 2 years when we talked to them each time about lithium-ion battery issues and dangers that face both the community and responders. So we definitely need some increased safety standards related to those, and they've got to find a way to recycle these batteries that's safe for the environment, because there isn't one now. let's go down to, support the HERO Act, HR 3671. This has to do with mental health support. And basically, they're looking for some funds to be set aside that you could access via a grant program so that organizations could establish or enhance mental health programs within their organizations.
Mm-hmm. And that's a big deal, obviously, as we know, in the last couple of years of taking care of our members and mental health issues that have came up.
Right.
And there's a lot of organizations can't afford that. I think we've done a really good job of bringing in professionals to support our members, but there's a lot of organizations that can't. So if there's funding to support that, that would be very helpful for them.
Right. And even enhancing the program, because right now we just had our first offering, 5-day offering of a program called Struggle Well. Mm-hmm. And Captain Fields went through the program. And when I talked to him the other day, he said this was not a counseling program like he thought it was. A lot of people go in there like, oh, Struggle Well, this is all about counseling, crying, hugging. He said this is a life skills program. And it truly is the proactive part that we're missing in our approach to mental health. Everything else that we've done is more reactive, right? Mm-hmm. We have start moving on counseling service. Dr. Debbie Ritterbush, her folks there are fantastic. And it's great having that trauma counseling service right there at the ready whenever we need it. Talk to us briefly about the Chaplain Program, because that's another important piece.
Yeah, so Cheetah Olson, who is a local minister in the community, is chaplain with Prescott Valley PD currently, and her and I met, it's been about 1.5 years ago now, and my goal was to get a chaplain program that was resilient within our organization and that people would want to use. We've had significant incidents happen within our organization and not really had that program in place for our members. I know we had Doug Copenhaver that pushed that really hard for a long time and did a great job, but there's a lot of other things that firefighters have to do besides just trying to do a special program like that. So bringing somebody from the outside, and Cheetah's very, very passionate about that. And so we met with multiple different organizations, Mesa Fire, Phoenix Fire, their chaplain programs, took her with us, and then built that program. We have it now started. She's went to the classes that we've required. She's done all the training. She's now officially one of our chaplains. The goal between us and the City of Prescott Fire Department would be to have 6 total chaplains that we can share between agencies, and they can have an on-call schedule, whether it's per week or however they want to figure that out. Anytime an incident's happening, that person can respond. In the meantime, they're going to be going to stations and making visits. So that the goal would be when you have an incident and you need a chaplain, that when that person shows up, you already know who that person is. It's not the first time you've seen them. So I know that Cheetah is scheduling some visits at our stations and with our battalion chiefs to meet the people and get to know them and let them know what she's here for. So I think it's a very good program. We're still building it. We're still bringing in more. Jeremy Brinkerhoff, that's doing the chaplain with City of Prescott, is part of that with Cheetah. So as we continue to get more and more numbers and expand that program, I think it'll be very good for our members.
And again, that's another proactive approach. Mm-hmm. The Struggle Well program is currently funded under a grant, so it didn't cost us anything other than some food for them to come in and do a 5-day program. If their grant runs out, then we need to find a way to fund that. And this program, this HERO Act, could be that funding mechanism, or they may be able to apply for it to continue their good works. But the plan with Struggle Well for us is, one, let's go back just for a second to what you said about us and Prescott, right? Joint Chaplain Program. The Struggle Well program, I brought in the 2-day, and we invited all local law enforcement, other fire agencies together. And at the end of the 2-day, the feeling was we should bring the Struggle Well program to the Quad Cities, and we should open it up where firefighters, police officers from all different agencies are in the same room going through the same program, which I thought was, one, surprised me a little bit, but two, a very healthy approach to doing this. It really shows the connection. Mm-hmm. So we're going to continue working on implementing that program at least 2 to 3 times per year until we get every one of our members through it and in the organization. That includes administration as well. So just so Kathy doesn't think she's getting out of it.
I went to the 2-day.
That's true. You did go to the 2-day.
So you have 3 more days. So you have
3 more days to go.
I just have to do 3 more.
So there's a lot of things that we're doing with this. I think this is an important bill, recognizing that what our first responders see and do is different than a lot of other professions, and they do need somewhere to go. And I think we've done a decent job here changing the culture where it's okay not to be okay. It's also okay to be okay, and that's different than it's been in the fire service historically.
And being okay to talk about it. In
Right.
the past, that's not always been that way. But being okay to talk about within the station, within your crew, and with other members of the
Right.
agency, just being okay to express yourself and not being, that shows that you're a weak link if that happens.
Right.
So, yeah.
And just because a call bothered you doesn't mean that you have to go to counseling. It may mean that you want to talk to the chaplain or our peer support, or you just need to sit and the crew needs to talk it out, right?
Yeah.
But we have the counseling services should someone need to go that route. And I know it's become more normalized in our organization.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, May 22nd, we have a meeting with Prescott, because in the fall we'll do a joint recruit academy for the first time. CAFMA is going to be part of a research project with Phoenix Fire, Mesa, and Glendale, their regional training academies, and CAFMA, the four of us, looking at a different approach to the recruit academy, the way we start it, the way we end it. And this is a big part of it.
Yeah.
Right, this is a huge part of it. The overall firefighter health and safety, the intent is how do we build more resilient, stronger firefighters throughout their career, and that's providing them tools, information, education, all along the way.
Yep. Yep. And setting the base for them before they get started into the actual academy where everything's happening. So yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
The bottom line, everything we went to Washington to discuss, everything I was up there for with our counterparts in Arizona, is for the benefit of our members, firefighters within CAFMA, Prescott, and around the state, around the country for that matter. But these things are important to our folks. That's why it's important for us to participate in that.
Yeah. 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 Exactly. Make sure that we're supporting our members.
Yep. So, Cody, I appreciate you coming on today. I know you're supposed to be, scouting for turkey or something right now
Yep.
as we're recording
Yeah.
this?
Yeah.
Why do you have to scout for turkey? Don't you just go out and pick one off?
We have to wait for Grady. That's the whole point. We could go shoot one today, but Grady won't be here until Thursday. Next week, he won't be until next week. So when he gets here, then we'll already know where they're at. Then we'll just go out there and shoot one.
Okay. I thought that you just kind of walked out in the woods and
You got to find them first.
just.
I'm
from Missouri, man. Turkeys are everywhere.
They're not that way here.
They're not that. Kathy, anything you'd like to add? How are these lapel mics working before we close out?
Just asking people to be patient. It was pretty good. I think it went
Did I
pretty
lean
well.
back too much for you?
No, you were good, but there's some, when Chief Freitag looks down and speaks directly into it, I'm trying to catch that.
Yeah.
He gets louder. But I do have some things. We're currently hiring for a systems technician.
Okay.
Go to our website, cazfire.gov. And
What is that? Systems technician.
Why don't
and
you
tech
tell me?
services. That's what you're talking about.
Yes.
Okay.
Jeez. You should be able to explain it better than I can.
It's your division.
It's your
It is.
division.
Another IT professional. That's what we
An
need.
IT professional. So cazfire.gov, we're also about to open hiring for firefighters again, too, at the
Yes.
end of May.
At the end of May,
So,
we will have that.
Get ready.
So we need IT professionals, and we're going to be looking for firefighters.
How many firefighters?
I don't know. It's
Like a whole lot of firefighters.
A whole lot of
So
firefighters.
Like
please-
20. I think the
please
last
put
number that
in-
we talked about was 20.
I think we're at 20. We were at 21, and I think we might be at 22 at this point, 22 or 23 altogether for new firefighters, especially looking for firefighter paramedics, because we're just trying to bolster our paramedic force as we look at some folks retiring, and that's just kind of planning in advance for that. So
Will
we
this
are
be
always
our
ahead.
Will this be our biggest hiring ever? Like our largest?
I think it will be.
That I know of, yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah,
See,
that we're
so
aware
put
of.
in for
And then a
it.
joint academy, and that'll be a
Yeah.
pretty cool thing to see 30 plus new firefighters out there at joint academy.
Yeah, that's going to be pretty awesome. And then I think it'll be great working with Prescott. This will be the first time they've done a Green Academy and hired without requiring firefighter 1 and 2 as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good. And that's a great thing about the relationship between CAFMA and City of Prescott Fire Department is, quite honestly, there's not a division. We're two separate agencies, but we work seamlessly together. And that's for the best interest of our members and the community.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, Kathy, Cody, thank you very much. To all of
Yep.
you out there, the 10s are, I think we might be up to 11s of viewers. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.